cold. In general, I live in Arizona to keep it warm. And it is not right now. Oh. But it has me thinking that if you are, I don't know, between the ages of 19 and 28, and it has been more than 7 or 8 years since you've last seen the first Ice Age movie, you should probably go watch that. I promise you, it is so much funnier than you remember. All right. Today, woke up a little bit later, unfortunately. It's the cold. It's the cold. The blanket just wraps you up and can't go anywhere when it's negative 12 in the morning. But under the blanket, it's like 78. But it's 6:30. Still not bad. And we're going to have a crazy pull day. I've got high aspirations for today's pull day. In fact, some might say this might be the turning point of Holden's pull days in the future. I'm thinking we might just have the best pump ever. I think that. Did I have a lot of carbs last night? No. Did I lose weight yesterday? Yeah, of course. Did I weigh in a little bit less than I did yesterday? Yeah. Is there any reason I should have a better pump today? No, absolutely not. We're just going to try really hard. See what happens. I'll say this. I actually drank my pre-workout before the 8-minute drive to the gym. I didn't just chug it in the parking lot and then walk into the gym. Takes like 20 to 30 minutes for that stuff to kick in. Just a heads up if you ever try it. I've got all sorts of stuff going on. I've got water. Okay, so today's topic of discussion. Oh, yeah. I was going to talk a little bit about like how to calculate your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, which is how many calories you burn just doing nothing. A lot of times there's like calculators online that you can use, and that's great. But when you are actually doing like a weight loss, journey, you're gonna need to know kind of how many calories you're spending on average every day. So that's going to include some of your like neat energy, which is the energy that you're just walking upstairs and you're cleaning and you're cooking and all that stuff. That's going to include that. And it's also going to include like any kind of exercise you're doing, So what I would recommend doing, and this isn't my recommendation. I think this is kind of like typical. What you're going to do, if it were me, you could do it a different way. You could find your own strategy. If it were me, I would meal prep breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I would weigh everything out. I would have everything be the exact same calories every day. So that in the end, it totaled out to be like 2,500 calories, something comfortable for you. You want it to be something where you're going to stick to it for at least 7 days. For 7 days, you're going to eat those meal preps. Let's say it's 2,500 calories. Every day you're going to eat the same thing, or at least the same amount of calories. And you're going to weigh yourself every day. So if it's 2,500 calories, you step on the scale, let's say you weigh 150 pounds. You start off 150 pounds. By the end of the week, you've gained a pound. Let's say that. And you're looking down and you're like, okay, what does that mean? One, notice how I took the average of the week. Every day might be a little bit different, like there are a lot of factors, because even though you're eating the same meals, you might be drinking water at different times, If you don't make the same meals, it might retain some water at different times. So you kind of want to take the average of the week. So if you on average gained a pound, that's what we're using. So, okay, 150 pounds. At the end of 7 days, you weigh 151 pounds. Well, so what does that mean? Well, we know that in 1 pound of fat, there is 3,500 calories. So if you do the math really quick, that divided by 7, that's 500 calories that we would have to eat extra every day in order to gain a pound for a week. All right. So if you start off at 150, at the end of 7 days, you weigh 151, that means you are in a surplus on average of 500 calories. So if you're eating 2,500 calories, that means that your maintenance calories, that might be a better word than BMR. BMR, I don't think really includes, it doesn't include like your need energy, your exercise, and all that stuff. So this is calculating maintenance calories. We'll say that. We know that it's going to be 2,000 calories because when you ate 2,500 calories, that puts you in a surplus of 500. I think this is making sense. Vice versa, let's say you're, a little bit bigger. Let's say you're 190 pounds and you are doing the same thing, 2,500 calories. Maybe that's comfortable for you and you can do that for 7 days. You do the same thing and now you've lost a pound. Well, 3,500 calories, right, in 1 pound divided by 7, that's 500, except we went the opposite way. So this time we were in a deficit of 500 calories. So that means that your maintenance calories for that weight, for that specific time of the year, is going to be 3,000 calories. You eat 3,000 calories, you're not going to change weight at all. And then from there, and you can kind of go off and do like your own diet. Maybe you don't want to be in a 500 calorie different. Maybe you do. Maybe you want to be more. It all depends on kind of what you need to do. But that's kind of just a basic way of figuring that out. Sometimes it can be better because there are calculators online that will try to guess your maintenance calories. They'll ask you, how active are you? And you're like, well, I work out 5 times a week. I weight train 5 times a week. I'm super active. Well, I don't think weight training burns as much calories as we think it does. It's not really that much, if I remember correctly. You're probably gonna have better bet if you are just walking, on the treadmill for 30 minutes after on an incline, and hitting your 10,000 steps. I would always err on the side of caution, and just say that you're like minimally active, unless you are running every day, or lightly active, just so that way, especially if you're dieting, it will undershoot your maintenance calories a little bit. And so if you start losing weight too fast, then you can adjust. But I would say, if you lose a little weight too fast to start and you get to eat more, I feel like that's better than, you're eating less calories and then you find out you're not losing weight at all, so you didn't even lose weight. And then you're like, well, now I have to eat less. Doesn't seem like a sweet deal to me. But yeah, that's kind of the method that's going to tell you for sure what you're going to need to do. I don't know if there's really anything else to talk about regarding that, to be honest. It's kind of just, you got to do it. It doesn't have to be the same meals every day, but if you want like the most consistency, 7 days, if you can somehow pick your 3 high calorie favorite foods and then eat those, but hit your protein. All right. So this pull day is going to involve, fuck it, man. Let's do some barbell back rows. I know my forearm is not feeling it. I get that. But, and I know my RDLs aren't necessarily sinking all the way down, but I don't think you need to be like You don't need to be 90 degrees to do a barbell back row. That I know for sure. So I think today we're going to figure that shit out. And we're just going to try it. I might do it with the Smith machine. You know, but the problem is that the Smith machines go right up and down. Some Smith machines are on an angle. That would be, I feel, maybe a little bit better. But then you have to think, if you're pulling it on an angle, then all of a sudden the vectors of force are going different directions. So it's not all just down from gravity. Now we've got some of it down from gravity, but some of the force, you know, is being transferred into like horizontal motion. So you're not actually lifting as much weight as you think. That's why people pack 2,000 pounds on the leg press machine, you know, because you're not pushing it straight up. You're pushing it at an angle. So you're not pushing it like, so like some of that energy is like energy that you're using to push it this way, which doesn't take a lot, you know. But yeah, so the Smith machine's straight up and down. I still might try it. We'll see what happens. We'll see what's available. If there's like a really sweet squat rack available, we might take that instead. All right, this video's much longer than it needs to be, so I'll see you guys in the gym. So I don't expect this to be the greatest thing I have ever done in my entire life. However, what I do expect is the greatest back pump I've ever had. All right, so that was pretty fucking good. In fact, pretty fucking easy. Do I add a whole ass plate right now? Let's add a 35. We've got a dream. All right. Oh, we are hitting this shit. Easy. I got a text message in the middle of that set. Pretty sure half that shit just got cut off. All right, I watched my like 2 reps worth of back rows, and I've decided that I need to bend over a shit ton more. It's not an upright row. All right, am I ego lifting right now? Yes, duh. So, but let's ego lift with good form. Oh my gosh. 205 is too heavy. That's okay. We're gonna hit some crazy rows later. Okay. And then some light pull downs to get things going. Straps for sure. I think, all right, this one we're gonna drop set. I'm feeling that for sure. All right. You'll remember this machine. All right. Oh. Okay. Let's up the front. Now we're getting heavy. So the plan's going to be to finish 2 more sets of this. We are going to then do another row variation, another pull down variation, and then I'm going to superset some curls with some rear delt flies. And then I'm going to try to hit rear delts again on my next push day. Oh. Yeah, it's drop set this one. Yeah, this might be the last thing I record until I just cut to the pump, but you guys know what's up. All right, let's see what you're rocking here. All right. Oh my gosh. I wish I'm gonna have to get more of the back here. Oh my gosh. Oh, holy fuck. Ow. Squeeze here a little bit. Oh, I totally blocked all of that with, let's see, how are we doing? It's all right. We need some more traps. Did I block all of that? I don't think so. I think we're good. All right, let's see. It's not terrible. Guys, it's the end of an era. This is the last MRE shake. I'm gonna kind of miss them and their chemical flavor And they're 40 grams of incomplete protein. And they're 230 calories. I could just buy another case. Oh. I think it's the flavor too. Well, like the salted caramel, not the chemical, radioactive flavor. That's probably occurring in every single one of them. But the salted caramel, I don't know. To me, that's just not a good combo. Sorry. It's like caramel's good, but then you want to add the same thing that you're going to put on like your steak. No, not a chance. But anyway, back and shoulders and buys is done. And it was pretty good. What you guys, let's see, where did I stop? I stopped recording after like the first or second set of rows. What came after that was, if I do a wide grip, like pull down, like pull-ups, if I do like a wide grip pull-up, I'll oftentimes, next time I do a variation, regarding the lats, I'll do a different grip. So I did like a narrow grip lat pull down, which honestly, I love those. Those feel so good. And then I did some bent over delt flies. I might have to get some of that next time. The form wasn't great though, so you guys did not miss out on much. And then I superset that with just some bicep curls. The forearm feels pretty good. I can feel it. It lingers. However, because I'm not doing a bunch of like bicep focus stuff, it gets bothered the most when I do bicep stuff. I really started feeling it last full day when I was doing the preachers, so I avoided that today. That was probably a good call. And then, yeah, and then after that we just checked the pump and left. I've got, it turns out, when I'm at GNC, I walk a lot. I was on the phone with one of my friends yesterday. Like, there's not that many customers that come into GNC. I've got enough time to, be on the phone with somebody. And I'm a pacer, So I think we were on the phone for like 2 or 3 hours. I mean, somebody comes into GNC and I just put the phone down and help them real quick, and then they leave, and then I'm back. And I'm pacing. And I was like, dude, it's going to be so hard for me to hit my step count. 23,000 steps in my tiny ass GNC. I think just from pacing. I mean, holy shit. That's crazy. I'll take it. So I'm not super concerned about, walking 30 minutes after my workout. If I'm just going to be walking for 7 hours at GNC, it just seems so counterintuitive that I would get that many steps at GNC when, like, a couple days ago, I don't even think I worked, and I got maybe 11,000. Yeah, I don't know how it works, and maybe just helping customers. I think maybe on certain days, like if I'm in the practice room a lot, I actually do walk around, but I don't have my phone on me, so it's not tracking the steps, which is probably the biggest thing. Where the hell did I put the shit? But yeah, back day was great. We were talking about some dieting stuff earlier with the maintenance calories, and yeah, just to sum it up, with maintenance calories, the maintenance calories are the calories that you're going to eat where you're not going to gain or lose weight. Oftentimes you might hear people talk about main gaining. It's not something I'm like super interested in, because I'm more of just a bulk cut guy. But some people, they want to keep and maintain, they're not maintaining the same weight, they're maintaining the same amount of calories. Ideally, they're going up in weight because they're putting on muscle, but they're not in a bulk or cut phase, so that way they're not losing muscle at all in a cut and they're not gaining fat at all in a bulk. I think that's sort of the premise. But the idea is that they're just eating their maintenance calories. They're not really they're not trying to gain weight necessarily. They're not trying to lose weight. They're probably going to gain weight if they're working out hard and they're hitting their protein and they're putting on a little bit of muscle. And that's also something too. Let's say you've measured your maintenance calories for a week, and you're a brand new lifter, and you're starting off. It doesn't really matter where, but let's just say for this example, you're starting off at a heavier weight. I mean, you have to understand, I'm 6'8", so like 170 pounds is like honestly heavy to me. But let's say you're at like 200 pounds. People are gonna clown on that. 200 pounds isn't that heavy. It is to me. All right, I'm not 6'8". All right, not 6'8". I'm not. But so let's say you're starting off at 200 pounds, but you're not like super muscular. You're just kind of chilling at 200 pounds. No issue with that, but that's where you're at. And you start trying to lose weight. You're like, I want to get down to 160. And you start losing weight, and your friends tell you, hey, you got to lift weights if you're going to lose weight. You got to maintain your muscle. Like, you're going to lose all your muscle, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, okay. So you head to the gym. You start doing some workouts. You start training pretty hard. And somehow you keep that consistent for months. Well, you're going to start stepping on the scale, and you're going to be like, when I first measured out my maintenance calories, it said I should be losing about a pound a week with how much I'm eating. Why have I not lost weight, or why have I gained weight? Well, I'll tell you. One, if you're kind of new to lifting, you're going to put on muscle quick. I mean, it's called the newbie gains, as they call it. You're going to, and muscle weighs more than fat. So if you're starting to put on some muscle by lifting heavy, you might actually gain some weight. But that's not a huge deal, because your muscle is going to be good for you. It's going to actually improve your metabolic rate, because the more muscle you have, the more calories you're just going to burn at rest. So don't let that freak you out. This all kind of gets summed up, and you don't always have to worry about the scale. Sometimes it's better to look at the mirror and just see what's happening. I've got the perfect example for you right here. So the past couple days, obviously I've been cutting. But I've also started to take my creatine again, because over Christmas break I was home, and I probably spent a couple weeks not taking creatine. And before that I wasn't even taking it super consistently. But today, or I should say the past 2 weeks or so, I've been hitting my creatine super consistent. And so when I started weighing myself, I was at 173. I was 173.8. So the first day I dropped down to 173.4, and then I was at 173, and then I was at 172.8, and then I started taking my creatine pretty diligently, and bam, I shot up to 174. Panic mode, right? Oh my gosh, I'm eating so much. Was I eating so much? No. Was I eating perfect those couple days? No, but not enough to warrant 2 pounds of fat. Again, that's 7,000 calories. I didn't slam 7,000 calories in a surplus. Hell no, not a chance. But creatine does make you hold on to some extra water weight. All right. So when I jumped up to 174, and I tell all the people who buy creatine, I ask them hey, are you cutting? Yeah, I'm trying to lose weight. Well, just a heads up, creatine is going to make you hold on to some water. So if you step on the scale and you weigh a couple extra pounds, just kind of all of a sudden, maybe you look a little bloated. I don't think it makes me look super bloated. I can still kind of tell that I'm losing weight. But if you look, or if you look at the scale and it's up a couple pounds, do not panic. Do not cut all your calories. Don't fast for 4 days in a row. Trust me, it's just a couple extra pounds of water. When you stop taking creatine, that goes away. It's just kind of part of it. But that creatine is also going to make you gain a little bit more muscle, like we talked about in the last video. Not the last video, it's 2 videos ago. I'm recording these a day in advance of what I edit, so it gets all confusing. I think we're on episode 9, but we could be on 8. I have no idea. But anyway, don't let stuff like that freak you out. If you're noticeably losing weight and getting like, if obviously you can tell, there's a couple places I like to look. For me personally, everybody's different. Some people lose weight from different areas at different times, so you kind of have to figure that out on your own. But for me, I start losing weight in my jaw pretty quick. I lose weight around my shoulders and my arms fairly quick. I don't lose weight around my legs. So I have to get pretty lean to start seeing like the different heads of the quad. That's just how I work. So you're going to work a different way. You just kind of figure that out. And as you're losing weight, let's say one day the scale says you're like half a pound heavier than you were yesterday, but you look in the mirror and you're like, yeah, but I'm starting to see some striations in my shoulder. Well, then you're probably on the right track, and I would not panic. In fact, I wouldn't panic regardless. The best thing you can do if you mess up on your diet or something is to just hop back on it. Like that's just the name of the game. I think probably when I hit like 165 or something, I'm going to go to Cane's and we're going to get a Caniac and we're just going to enjoy it. And then I'm just going to hop back on the diet. And you know what? All good. Caniac combos. Oh, never bringing that up again. But yeah, okay. And there was one last thing. Oh yeah, and as you start losing weight, you have to keep in mind that you're going to have to start dropping the calories. Because remember what I said about if you put muscle on and you start getting heavier, your metabolic rate's going to go up because you have more mass to just keep healthy and to supply nutrients to. As you start losing weight, there's less fat and there's less amount of you that you have to supply with calories. So therefore, you're going to start burning less calories a day. You might go from, if you're eating 2,000 calories to lose a pound a week, you might have to drop that to 19,000 calories, and so on. And then it's not a bad idea to take diet breaks. I've never really looked too much into the specific benefits of it. I just know it's something that a lot of people advocate for. Basically, if you're dieting for a long time, I've heard people call it like a refeed, but I think more commonly it's called like a diet break, where you eat at maintenance calories for maybe a day or two, or maybe even a little bit longer, just kind of like feel good again, and then you kind of hop back on it. I've heard that helps a little bit with your metabolism, from keeping it from just going down as you lose weight, but that's inevitable. Unfortunately, that's just kind of how the shit works. But anyway, tomorrow is my rest day, so no workout tomorrow. And then today, I'm gonna go open the music school. I've got a 7-hour GNC shift because I guess Sundays the store is only open from 11 to 6, which is kind of nice. I've got Minecraft tonight, boys. Let's go. All right, we're gonna play Minecraft. I gotta figure out all the new shit that goes down with it. I haven't played Minecraft in years. I'm super hyped up. Dude, I'm not bored. I do shit all day long. Yesterday I spent like hours editing the video. Not hours, but it takes time. And customers coming in. And then I wrote a shit ton of music yesterday. Like, I was cranking out my new composition, which was awesome. But then after that, I'm just like, dude, I do the same shit every day. And I kind of love it. Don't get me wrong. I kind of love it. But then the special thing, here's the special thing. Sorry you can only see half my face. The special thing about doing the same thing every day is when something seemingly mediocre appears in your life, like a day to play Minecraft. You're like, this is the best day ever. I saw a video one time and it was like, if I told you that I was going to give you $1 billion tomorrow, would you say yes? And then everybody's like, yeah, I'll take $1 billion. And then they were like, what if I told you I'll give you $1 billion, but tomorrow would be the last day that you would ever live? I would reckon 99.99999% of people are going to say, no, that's not a good deal. And the person's like, really? You wouldn't take $1 billion? And they're like, no. And that's just evidence to you that your life is more valuable. Every day you wake up is more valuable than $1 billion. And I'm at the point where I'm like, fuck, dude, I love everything new in my life. It is awesome. I think honestly, just talking, I feel way more social. I'm a pretty introverted person. If you can't tell by the way my eyes like shoot back and forth, like avoiding the camera all the time. That's just how I am. But like when I go and donate plasma, I am like a chatterbox all of a sudden. It's kind of nice. I feel like, yeah, it's just like any sort of different thing added to my routine just feels great. Which, it's not that my routine right now is bad. It's just that I'm kind of just in like I don't want to say a flow state. It's kind of cheesy. But just a state that everything I'm doing, I'm just cool with. I'm just fine with, like, all right, I woke up a little bit late today. That wasn't exactly on purpose. But I'm cool with getting up a little bit early. I'm cool with going to the school to open the school. I'm cool with going to work out. Cool with going to practice. Cool with going to work. And then it's like if you gave me like a cookie right now, just like one little cookie, calorie free, I'd be like, whoa, this is different. It's small, but it's awesome. I don't know. Anyway, kind of rant over. Damn, bro. I don't know how to keep these videos from being so damn long. But hopefully you gained something if you're watching this 2 years in the future when, people actually might like find something on a search engine from me. But hopefully you got something out of this. I don't know. Maybe you didn't. Sorry. Sorry if you've witnessed the pose down, that means that it was good. If it's not there, then it was probably because I didn't actually look at most of it because I had my back turned. And also, if you make it this far, I'm not an expert at posing. I'm like the reverse of a bro. I'm like a science guy who wants to be more bro. Not that posing is anti-science, but like I think I know more about lifting than I do about the sport of bodybuilding. So that's what we're going to be learning about, I think. Hopefully by the end of season 1, which season 1 is going to be 1,000. We're beating the One Piece record with this season 1, by the way. Hopefully by season 2, we will understand a little bit more about that posing stuff, and I can maybe not be so embarrassing when I'm posing in front of everybody in the gym. Who gives a fuck? All right. Sayonara.